everyone, welcome once again to Ask the Treksperts, the show where we answer your questions about Star Trek. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we're going to be tackling another episode review, Sarah. Today we're going to be talking about Deep Space Nine's Empok Nor.
Yes.
This is one of Sarah's favorite episodes.
It is one of my favorite episodes. It has everything that a Deep Space Nine episode needs to have to be good.
Okay, list them off.
Okay, Garrick.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are good Deep Space Nine episodes without Garrick in them.
Well, sure, but this has if it has major Garrick plot, it's automatically good.
There are...
Name one that's not.
And I can't argue with that. There are not any just straight up bad Garrick episodes.
See,
that's true.
My point is...
You're
good.
Absolutely right about that, yeah.
Yeah. No, that...
Our Man Bashir...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Garrick episodes are good. Yeah, The Wire...
The Wire is another of my favorites.
Yeah, what is... Why can't I think? Oh, Pale Moonlight, In the Pale Moonlight.
Of course, that's one of the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and any awesome Deep Space Nine episode generally has Garrick in it, though there are others that don't.
Yes, of course.
So.
But what else? You said it has everything it needs to have. Is it just Garrick?
It's Garrick.
Oh, okay. But I would also say O'Brien. I mean, like,
he plays off of Garrick very well.
And there are very few straight up bad O'Brien episodes either. And DS9 has a lot of O'Brien episodes. Mm-hmm. One of the things that's great about this is that it's a Garrick episode that is not centered on Garrick as the protagonist. He actually serves as the villain through about a quarter of it.
Which is awesome.
And it actually is more of an O'Brien episode than anything.
Yeah.
There's some Nog in there, but it's mostly an O'Brien episode. And so you can put it in the list of great O'Brien episodes also.
Yeah.
But also, it's neat to have a Garrick episode, or at least an episode that prominently features him, that doesn't include Bashir. Bashir's not in this episode.
He's in like one scene at the very end.
At the very beginning, or at the end. I'm sorry, you're right.
When he's saying, "Oh yeah, Garrick was on this psychotropic drug, and it's out of his system, and he's good now. He just has broken ribs." Yeah,
he makes sure and lets the audience know that he absolutely 100% was not in control of his faculties. That's right.
Right. Because that would be a problem if he had some control. We'd have had to deal with that for the rest of the show.
Exactly, and that's the thing. But it's one of those I'm not myself kinds of episodes that really. I hate to say it like this, but Smallville needed to look at this episode.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I like...
and shows like that will do this kind of thing where the whole episode is just there to let somebody act differently from how they usually do. It doesn't tell us anything about them. A lot of time with Smallville, they wouldn't remember it at the end.
Yeah.
Those
and
kinds
he
of
totally
things.
Does, and he's feeling really
This
bad.
is not a throwaway episode.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of callback to this episode later. This is like, I want to say midway through season 6. We don't have much Deep Space Nine left to go, and I want to say there's at least 3 or 4 episodes that call back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what I like about this episode is that a lot of times, this episode starts off, they're going to Empok Nor.
Yeah, and I mean, give us a quick synopsis.
Okay, so they're going to Empok Nor, which is this abandoned Cardassian base that's basically just like Deep Space Nine. And only it's all tilty-like because they abandoned it. And they're trying to get some systems they need to fix what's going on Deep Space Nine, problems that they're having. But anyway, Cardassians always booby-trap things because booby-traps are fun. And so they bring Garrick along to help them disarm the booby-traps because he's a Cardassian and most Cardassian booby-traps only work against non-Cardassians. So anyway, while they're on the station, they wake up to psychotropic-induced...
Well, psychotropic. I think a psychotropic drug would be an entirely different thing. They have those in Hawaii.
Going to the beach.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but they wake up 2 bad guys who are Cardassians who are out to kill them because they're on drugs.
They have those on ricin.
Yeah. But what I really like...
Psychotropic drug.
So what I like is that they raise the stakes for us. Like, already you're kind of like, okay, let's get intense here because people are dying and Cardassians are attacking people. But then they raise the stakes where Garrick is now on the drugs, and he's killed off the 2 bad Cardassians, but he's now the villain.
Yeah. And
so now you care not only about the team that's there, O'Brien and Nog, but then you care about Garrick because he's awesome.
Well, and I want to say, am I remembering this wrong? Doesn't he personally actually kill one of the red shirts?
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. He kills one of the security guys.
One of the security guys. One of the things I do have to say, as a negative to the episode, mostly it's just funny, is that not only do we have we don't just have like one or two random crewmen like in I said red shirts. In 24th century we usually call them gold shirts. by the time you get to DS9 where they're silver uniforms, they don't really have a moniker anymore, but it's the same kind of idea.
Security detail.
It's just some random people that are just thrown in for this episode. And by the way, Bolians tend to not make it. And so we don't just have one or two of those. No, we've got 4. And we introduce 4 people at the beginning of the episode where we go to some derelict space station that the Cardassians abandoned that has booby traps on it. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah. Gee, I wonder who is going to die.
Gee, I wonder who's going to die. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway.
Not that that's bad, because...
well, first of all, it's classic Star Trek.
Exactly.
And so it can kind of get away with it because of that.
Yeah.
But I do
the apple
think
was awesome that way.
the only problem with it for me is that I think that it does lessen the intensity of the episode to a degree, because you know who's going to die and you know who's not going to die.
Yeah, but that's just because it's Star Trek.
That's partly true, but I think that 4 is kind of ridiculous. Like I would have gone with, here's the thing, I would have either gone with fewer than 4 or let one of them make it. But the problem here's the thing, the problem with killing all 4 of them off is that the only reason Nog doesn't die is because he's a recurring character. That's the only reason. There are multiple points in the episode where O'Brien could have easily sent him out where one of the others got killed.
And he almost did.
Yeah. And the only reason he makes it is because the universe is in his favor, because the creators of the show aren't going to kill off Nog.
Yeah.
I don't like that about it. That's really my biggest complaint about the episode, though. That's it.
The rest of it's just fine.
I don't like that. Oh, yeah, it's quite good.
And I love how Garrick really tries to get under O'Brien's skin about the Battle of Setlik 3.
Yes.
And tries to remind him of his soldier days.
Yes.
And O'Brien has tried to block that from his memory because he really didn't like what he had to do at that time.
And this is ground we've covered before, and it's nice to see it return. It's nice to see it revisited, and what I really like about it, too, is that you don't have to have seen The Wounded in TNG to appreciate it, but if you have, it's some nice continuity. It's something that I don't think has been brought up much in Deep Space Nine. Maybe before this at some point, and I'm not remembering, but this is the place I always think of as that place that they came back to The Wounded.
Yeah.
And it works really well. He gets under his skin, and one of the things that I really appreciate is that it's set up before he's on the psychotropic drugs.
Yeah. That when we were watching it this time, I noticed that, where Garrick's playing that Cardassian game with Nog, and he says to O'Brien, I'd really like to play with you because of the mind that you have.
I'd love to play this with the hero of Setlik 3.
Yeah, exactly. And then that just becomes the theme of the episode when they play cat and mouse on Empok Nor.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really, your big theme in this episode is seeing war as a game, and why do Cardassians like war? Why are they such a warrior race like they are? Or not just warriors, but strategists. And there's a lot of talk about xenophobia and things like that.
Yeah.
They don't consider themselves this, but throughout the course of the episode, there's a lot of exploration of how they're kind of a hunter race. In a way, like that's sort of their mindset.
And it's heightened because they're on this drug.
Yeah, exactly. And so we kind of see what the natural state of Cardassians would be, if they didn't have anything to kind of check that, you know what I mean? The idea is, because the thing is, I don't think that it's really a racist kind of thing. I think it's you've got different things that tend to kind of trump other things for different species. For instance, like, the Romulans are generally kind of more conniving. They don't all have to be that way. Yeah. But that's kind of their default.
Culture.
That's their basic culture. Yeah. And it's also a little bit built into their DNA. And so you have a nature versus nurture thing. That's in there. The Klingons are mostly a warrior race, but we've met Klingons that don't want to be warriors, Yeah. So the idea is that people are able to get away from those natural tendencies.
Yeah.
And so what I really like about this with the Cardassians is that it's not this generic all Cardassians are bad kind of thing. It's
Cardassians on drugs are bad.
It's that, yeah, but hear me out. What I like about it is, you've got these other two Cardassians that are on that are on these drugs, and remember the idea was that the drugs had kind of backfired on them. It was kind of a science experiment gone wrong, where they were supposed to only go after non-Cardassians, but now they'll kill anybody.
Yeah.
And so
just kind of homicidal maniacs.
They're homicidal maniacs, precisely. Yeah. And it kind of turns into a slasher flick.
Yeah.
But a really good slasher flick.
Because you're not just waiting for the entire crew to die.
Yeah, and I guess it's not really a slasher flick because it's more with guns, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it does kind of turn into a horror film.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say though is that what I like is Garak is better at it than they are.
Yeah.
And so we see something come out of him that we've never really seen before. This isn't just Garak like acting kind of wonky and generically bad because he's on these drugs. This is bringing out something that's actually inside Garak.
Yeah.
And we're finding that he's actually a better Cardassian than most Cardassians. This is something that had been hinted at throughout the series. He and Dukat were huge rivals.
Yeah.
And you get the sense here by seeing some of that come out that at his most devious, and I think that that's the word I was searching for before, is that Cardassians are at their core a devious kind of species, but capable of getting over that, you know what I mean? And so at his most devious, he's maybe even able to rival Dukat. And so anyway, it was a nice way to explore it without having to take him to a place where he would become unsympathetic, where we wouldn't like him anymore, where we would have to change status quo so much that he wouldn't be able to live on the station anymore. Yeah. And I could see merit to doing that if you really wanted to. I could see merit to it, but I'm kind of glad that we didn't have to go there. Having said that, I always felt like we never quite went far enough with Garak.
I agree. On the one hand, I like that he was always sort of a shadowy, secretive kind of character, and in some ways I'm glad we didn't delve too far, but in other ways, I'm really dying to know, who was this guy, who was he before he was exiled, and I mean, we get bits and pieces and you can sort of fit it together in your head, but there are certain episodes I really wanted to see happen.
Yeah, and I'm on the fence about it because on the one hand, if you knew everything, you would lose that mystique.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, you always kind of want to know. That's not to say that they never gave him anything. It gave us anything about him. The Anna Tane thing is huge.
Oh, absolutely.
We finally find out that his father was the head of the Obsidian Order, and that tells us a lot about why he's capable of what he's capable of. That tells us why he has favors he can cash in. Yeah. Again, like we see in the Pale Moonlight and other episodes too.
Yeah, but you just. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to see more Garak, but I'm always going to want to see more Garak.
One of the things that I think this episode really has going for it is it is a bottle show, and you have to keep reminding yourself that it is a bottle show.
Yeah.
Compare this to something like Move Along Home, right? Which is also a bottle show, and is it's silly, it's goofy. That's the one with the with the kind of like physically manifested board game. Do you remember the name of that? The Wadi.
Yeah, the
Wadi. That's that race. Yeah, and I was thinking about that where because of the kind of episode it is. I don't want to dog too hard on that episode. I like things about it. It's funny.
Yeah,
But the thing about Move Along Home, the reason I'm mentioning it is because I'm spending the whole time watching that episode going, this is a bottle show.
Yeah.
They're using the station as where the people go as playing pieces so that they can save money.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing here. And the production values are amazing.
Yeah.
They have changed the set dressing, and they have lit this thing in such a way where I have to remind myself we're using standing sets.
That's true. Yeah, it looks really good and creepy. But it's always cool when they can do that, where you're not going anywhere, but really you feel like you're going somewhere with the plot and with the characters.
Yeah, and that's why it's got a strong script behind it, and that helps a lot. Just the conceit of let's go to another vessel that looks just like the vessel we have is used all over Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of One Riker, One Bridge, right? Where silence has lease. But what I like about it here is that it makes perfect sense. Well, it makes sense in other places too, that you would have like a sister ship, and
or you design a space station, so you just use that same blueprint for a couple places in space.
But that's what I was going to say. I thought it kind of made even more sense, or at least as much sense for the space station. I could see the Cardassians, reusing that design over and over again, especially because their architecture. Like it's just too good of a design to not reuse, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure what another Cardassian station would look like. It's too Cardassian.
Yeah, they gave the guy who designed that particular space station a raise, and so now they don't need any more space station designers.
Yeah, and then you go to Cardassian and you see that there are even buildings that look a lot like that. They just kind of float on top of water.
Yeah, my apartment is one of the upper pylons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What else?
It's kind of a simple episode.
It is, yeah.
I think we've covered most of the important stuff. It's really just Garrick attacks people.
Yeah, and again, I appreciate that it's simple, but it's not that there's nothing going on either, character-wise. I mean, there certainly is. Yeah. And we learn, I feel like we learn a little bit about what Garrick could be. And actually, what I like is Garrick kills a person in this. And he's not really responsible for it because of where the drug he's on. But what I really appreciated is that you kind of become more sympathetic for Garrick rather than less so. You kind of like Garrick more after this because you realize what he's had to do to work at not becoming that. Yeah. And so that's really great. It's almost like we're watching an episode about somebody who is almost like who's almost predisposed to be a serial killer, and we see what he would be like if he was a serial killer. And you also get this. And by the way, he's just such a good actor. You get this look in his eyes at the end where you're like, oh, I know I'm capable of that. Yeah. And it's awful that I got there. Yeah. What are you laughing at?
Oh, no, nothing.
Oh, you had this look on your face like you were going to say something funny.
No, I was just imagining Garrick, the serial killer, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, Sarah just wanted that whole series. Yeah. Isn't it kind of sad, actually, that that's not where they went with him in the Mirror Universe, that they did kind of more of this, like kind of joke with him? Yeah,
but I felt that way about a lot of the Deep Space Nine Mirror Universe.
We should talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
We should maybe
so.
We should maybe watch those back to back and just do a show on it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, rating.
Rating, 4.
Okay. I'm gonna go for a 3.5.
Yeah, I was almost there. It's probably, if we did points other than 0.5 and 0.0, it'd be closer to 3.5. Almost, but I just couldn't go 3.5. It's a 4.
Okay.
I love this episode.
Well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching Ask the Treksperts. If there's an episode you'd like us to review in the future, or something you'd like to ask us on Ask the Treksperts, leave a comment below. Sarah, I don't know what we're going to do next time. Maybe another episode review. Yeah. Something. We'll figure it out. We still got to do that commentary on Wrath of Khan. We haven't done that yet. Yeah. So hopefully we can make that happen for you here really soon. And sorry about the wait on that. We've just been too busy to sit down and do a commentary together. Yeah. But anyway, thanks again for watching. We sure appreciate it. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.